and let us all do we can to build a better future. Fox News. Why did you miss out on the opportunity to go live with a sit-down interview with Donald Trump? Yeah, see, they aired a video, recorded, but didn't go live. I mean, geez Louise, Fox, you would have been bringing in the views. I mean, you need the views. I mean, hell, CNN got that huge boost of views, but Trump and Fox Brett Baier sparred over the former president's 2020 election claims. Now, YouTube, you did put in that policy that it's okay to talk about this now, YouTube. And it's Trump saying it. I'm just commentating on it, okay? That's what I'm saying. And I got a couple of highlights from that infamous exchange of Donald Trump. And no, this is not an endorsement of Donald Trump. I do find this indictment to be very concerning. I do find this indictment to be extremely concerning because, again, this is something that should concern all of you. We have a sitting president making sure that one of his potential political rivals will go to jail. Now, there's two ways this indictment will play out. Either Trump comes out a hell of a lot stronger, or we enter into an era in which Democrats and Republicans are doing this back and forth to each other, all the while we're being screwed over. So, former President Donald Trump and Fox News anchor Brett Baier argued over Trump's false claims of the rigged election in 2020 during a contentious interview that aired Monday on the network. Of course, Trump's saying, first of all, I won in 2020 by a lot. So much that it'll make your head spin. And Barr asked him how he plans to appeal to independent voters in 2024. That's not what Barr interjected as Trump talked over him. The former president floated unfounded theories about ballot harvesting and voter fraud. Again, it is interesting. Now, look, Trump, in my opinion, did run a mediocre campaign in 2020. There was a lot of political ammunition that he could have used against Biden in that election cycle. I'm surprised that he didn't. It was not as engaging as his 2016 election campaign, but who knows? Maybe he learned his lesson in 2024. So we got a couple of highlights. And I want to share with all you lovely, lovely people of Donald Trump on Fox News. And I guess Trump is no longer a fan of Fox News either. I guess it's over now. So let's play it first in regards towards this great exchange. Let's share it with all of you.
Look, I talked to him. I said, if you do it.
And this is in regards to Putin.
Look, I talked to him. I said, if you do it, there's going to be hell to pay. It's going to be a catastrophe. Don't do it. He said, no, you won't do that. I told him I was going to do something. He said, no, you will not do that. I said, I will, Vladimir, I will do it. I'm going to do it. And you know what? He didn't believe me. Whatever. It was pretty bad. And he didn't believe me at all, except for maybe 10%. And 10% is all you needed.
It's all you need. It's a shame that Fox News decided not to go live with this wonderful video segment, but there's another one as well. And this is where, again, this is Trump. More of him.
I don't want to dwell on it, but according to the indictment, you were here at Bedminster on July 21st, 2021, after you're no longer president, and you were recorded saying that you had a document detailing a plan of attack on another country that was prepared by the U.S. military for you when you were president, the Iran attack plan. You remember that?
Ready?
You were recorded.
It wasn't a document.
Okay.
I had lots of paper. I had copies of newspaper articles. I had copies of...
And again, Iran attack plan. What does that tell you? That our government wants ongoing war. And they were going to do it under Trump. And hey, credit where credit's due. You know, Trump, you didn't lead us into another war. And there was that incident way, way, way back during his administration when it looked like there was going to be a conflict with Iran. And Trump called it off at the last minute. If Donald Trump is the most reasonable person in the room, you know we're in some trouble. We've got continuous people who want ongoing war to happen.
Of magazines.
I know. This is specifically a quote. You're quoted on the recording saying the document was secret, adding that you could have declassified it while you were president, but, quote, now I can't. You know, this is still secret, highly confidential. And the indictment cites the recording and the testimony from people in the room saying you showed it to people there that day. So you say on this on tape,
it says just the opposite,
that you can't
and
declassify it. So why have it?
When I said that I couldn't declassify it now, that's because I wasn't president. I never made any bones about that. When I'm not president, I can't declassify.
And that's what you said. You didn't declassify it.
I said no. I said I couldn't.
But
that wasn't a document.
You know what this also tells you? That Fox News, just like all the other establishment media, they're trying to do everything they can to also derail the Trump campaign. Look, establishment media, from Fox News to CNN to MSNBC to Vote Blue no matter who and liberal think tanks. Trump has a huge amount of followers. They're not going to disappear overnight. You do realize that this is going to help Donald Trump. It's not going to hurt him. People are going to be talking about him, whether you like it or not. This is still going to continue to happen. There's nothing you're going to do to stop it. Everyone's going to be talking about him. That's how he's gained power. Corporate media, Fox News. I remember during the Obama administration how all those Fox News talent people were pining and dreaming of somebody to tell it how it is and to own the liberals. Well, here's your little Frankenstein. This is your creation, Fox News. Now you can't control him.
But Brett, there was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things. And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles.
I'm just saying what the indictment says.
Well,
the recording and the people in the room who testified.
These people are very dishonest people. They're thugs. They're thugs. If you look at what they've done to other people, what they've done to and overturned in the U.S. Supreme Court, these are thugs.
The suggestion was that you wanted this as evidence that the military, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Milley, had preemptively sent you plans for a possible attack on Iran and that you didn't order that to happen. That's the suggestion.
I never ordered it to happen, no.
But that's why you wanted the document.
I don't think I've ever seen a document from Milley.
So here's the thing. I'm going to play this video coming up next. Trump surrounded himself with a lot of people of the Bush-Cheney administration. A lot of these people are neoliberals. So all those fans of George Bush Jr., remember, the reason why we are in a screwed up spot is because the ongoing neoliberal games of the DNC and the RNC. Trump surrounded himself with people that he thought would listen to him. And of course, people being in Washington, D.C., anyone part of the Republican or Democratic establishment, they know how to suck up on each other. They're parasites. They're leeches. They offer nothing. They're nothing but scumbags, all of them, including your favorite lawmaker in Washington, D.C., be they Democrat or Republican. They're scumbags. They're lice. They're parasites. I will not have any kind words to say about anyone in the Washington, D.C. swamp bubble, no matter where they stand in the DNC or in the RNC. You can't trust them. You can't. You can't do it. No, I'm sorry. You just can't. And so, because of this, many people are now also turning against Donald Trump.
Milley, frankly, was incompetent. The last one I'd want to attack with as my leader would be Milley. That I can tell you.
All right, last thing on this.
Now, one other thing here, too, and I want to pull this up here as well. We're seeing Brett Baier defending Biden. Fox News defending a Democrat? Say it ain't so, but it is so, and more.
That legal battle aside, I just want to ask you a couple of specifics. Why did you have this very sensitive national security defense documents, like the war plans for a strike on Iran?
So like every other president, I take things out. And in my case, I took it out pretty much in a hurry, but people packed it up and we left. And I had clothing in there. I had all sorts of personal items in there, much stuff. And by the way, when Bill Barr, who's, a coward, Bill Barr was a coward. Bill Barr didn't do what he was supposed to do. I fired him, and he has great hatred, and that's okay because some people do. And some people love me very much. He didn't resign. I asked him, give me a letter immediately, because he didn't have the courage to go after so many different things, and you and I have discussed it before. But he was a coward. And he obviously doesn't like me too much, and there are a lot of people that don't, and there are a lot of people that feel just the opposite.
But on specific on the
let me
documents.
just explain.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of things in there. I will go through those boxes. I have to go through those boxes. I take out personal things. As far as the levels and all, everything was declassified because I had the right to declassify. You want to talk about a mess? Take a look at Biden. where he's got 1,850 boxes. He has boxes stored in Chinatown in D.C. He has boxes stored at Penn Center, and he has boxes under his Corvette and around his Corvette sitting in a garage for years where it was very seriously classified.
Now, will Fox News, A, defend a Democrat, which is something, it's very rare, or B, agree with Trump?
I have every right to have those boxes. This is purely a Presidential Records Act. This is not a criminal thing. In fact, the New York Times of all had a story just the other day that the only way NARA could ever get this stuff, this back, would be please, 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 could we have it back?
And they
please,
asked for that.
Because they have no,
They did ask for it.
No, and
they said,
I gave
can you
them
give the
some,
documents back?
and we were talking.
And then they said they went to DOJ to subpoena you to get them
which
back.
they've never done before.
Right. And
in
but
all
why not
fairness,
just hand them over then?
because I had boxes. I want to go through the boxes and get all my personal things out. I don't want to hand that over to NARA yet. And I was very busy, as you've sort of seen.
Yeah, but
I've been
according to
very,
the
very
indictment,
busy.
you then
So again, these are the attacks that we're seeing. Now, I want to play one other video here. It's a little bit of a doozy, but it should show all of you the amount of betrayal that was going to follow Donald Trump. And in many ways, look, he brought this on himself. He surrounded himself with a bunch of neoliberal Democrats. He said he was going to drain the swamp. That never happened. But it's interesting to see all of the people that used to suck up to Donald Trump now turning against him. And remember, all these politicians are scumbags. Now, I said this about people who are liberals, the social justice warriors, the protesters. They would be irrelevant without Donald Trump because he made their lives worth living for. He brought purpose into their life. Everyone could LARP and pretend to be a resistance fighter. But also, you got that problem on the right, especially with a lot of Republican people who built their careers off of Donald Trump. All of these yes men people, all these people who are against Donald Trump needed Donald Trump. He made their lives more relevant because all of these people, you know what they are at the end of the day? Empty shells. They're not even independent thinkers. They're parasites. Those who are liberals and those who are conservatives who built their careers either bashing or praising Trump. Watch this.
In theory and government, this stuff shouldn't happen.
So what changes would you make?
Strong people, strong government. You know, when I came down to Washington, I was in Washington 17 times in my life in D.C. And I never stayed overnight. I was never there. I didn't know the people. I didn't know that world, other than I was involved in politics from the other side very much. And I put great people in, but I put some people like Bill Barr.
Now, real quick, again, to diehard Republican voters, your boy Trump used to be a Democrat, okay? Remember, in the 2016 primary, he told the truth about the entire system, especially money and politics. I give these people money and they do what I say. That means the people in the DNC and the RNC take whoever they take money from. And no, they're not talking about your measly $1 donation, Democratic voters and Republican voters. I'm talking about the corporate donors. They listen to them, their number one constituents. Want to know why things are so bad? Is because they listen to the 1%. Trump is part of that club. And he knows how corrupt it is because he's used it.
And Bolton and a few of them that, actually Bolton was good because every time I negotiated, people said, oh, they've got this maniac here. He's going to go to war with us. And they'd concede every point. I mean, it was actually pretty good in a certain way. But we put people in that were great and we put people in that weren't. I now know Washington probably better than anybody. I know the good ones and the bad ones. And we will have really great, strong people. I already know who they are, but we will have really great, strong people.
Okay. In 2016, you said that. I'm going to surround myself with only the best and most.
And Trump, you didn't surround yourself with the best. You surrounded yourself with swamp people. No disrespect to swamp people, but, I mean, he surrounded himself with, I don't know. What's a kind word for these politicians? I can't think of a kind word of these Washington, D.C. people. After all, Washington, D.C. is a swamp. It stunk then and it stinks now.
Serious people.
Well, I did do that.
This
And we had
time-
tremendous, look, we had the best economy we've ever had.
This
The world
time-
has ever seen.
Your Vice President, Mike Pence, is running against you.
Yeah.
Number
Your
one.
Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, she's running against you.
Number
Your former
two.
Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, said he's not supporting you.
3.
You mentioned National Security Advisor John Bolton. He's not supporting you either.
Bolton, the guy who was foaming at the mouth to start a war. He's looking at Trump like, come on, start a war, start a war, start a war. Again, Trump is no saint, but there's this guy Bolton right there. Look at him. He's looking at him like a puppy dog. Start a war, please, sir. Please, sir. Can we get another war?
You mentioned Attorney General Bill Barr says you shouldn't be president again, calls you the consummate narcissist and troubled man. You recently called Barr a gutless pig. Your second defense secretary is not supporting you, called you irresponsible.
6.
This week, you and your White House called your White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, weak and ineffective and born with a very small brain.
You know, in Trump's defense, that guy does look like he has a small brain.
You called your acting White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, a born loser. You called your first secretary.
Oh, thank you above. Thank you. Thank you for making this election cycle so entertaining.
Say Rex Tillerson, dumb as a rock, and your first defense secretary, James Mattis, the world's most overrated general. You called your White House.
Oh, damn. It's General Mattis, folks. United States Marine Corps, too. Crazy. Crazy, man. Trump, he doesn't care.
White House Press Secretary Kayleigh Canadian milquetoast, and multiple times you've referred to your Transportation Secretary, Elaine Chao, as Mitch McConnell's China-loving wife. So why did you hire all of them in the first place?
Because I hired 10 to 1 that were fantastic. We had.
Hey, listen, diehard Republican voters. Listen, the Republican establishment is going to be playing the same tricks that that the DNC does, especially in regards to its primaries. Be prepared to see so much corporate smears towards Donald Trump. And no, this is not an endorsement towards Trump, but they're going to do everything they can, like they did in 2016, to try and derail his campaign. Brace yourselves, Republican voters, those who are going to vote for Trump. It's going to get crazy. Now, this is not my first time witnessing this because I saw it firsthand happen to Bernie Sanders the cuck in 2016 and in 2020. They're going to do everything they can to derail Trump as well. Everyone's turning against him. The Republican establishment as a whole is revealing their true colors because the RNC, just like the DNC, want to keep their well-oiled machine going along. Trump was the most transparent president we ever had. After all, he told us the reason why U.S. troops were still in Syria. We're there for the oil. We're there for the oil. All of the military conflicts under Democratic and Republican administrations were there for the people's resources. Trump told the truth. It wasn't for freedom or justice or protecting us. It was to help out the 1%ers get more money. That's the truth.
A great economy. We had phenomenal people in charge of the economy. We had phenomenal people in the military. I'm not a fan of Milley, and I'm not a fan of certain of the television people, but I knocked out ISIS. I defeated ISIS. They said, Mattis, it would take 3 years, and I don't think we can do it. I did it in a period of like 4 weeks.
There's a lot of people who praise you for your policies. I just said that.
That's true. Well, I mean, you just went through a list, but don't forget, for every one you say, I had 10 that love us. And one thing happens, I find, with me that I think didn't happen so much with other presidents. Call it glamorous time, call it whatever. But with me, the Times, the Washington Post, various people, even Fox, because, you know, I'm no great fan of Fox anymore.
The day has happened. Trump, no longer a fan of Fox. Such sadness now. Such sadness and despair.
They fought me very hard. Well, you got to get your word out somehow, right? They fought me very hard in 2016, very much the way they're fighting me now. Very, very hard. And I won. Then they became very nice. But I will tell you that something happens when people leave. They can like me very much. I have this woman named Alyssa Farah. She said the greatest things. Long after she left, he's the greatest president we've ever had. He was unbelievable, unbelievable. Then The View offered her a contract.
The View. By the way, again, shout out to Tulsi Gabbard when she owned The View. Oh my God, I can't believe that show was a thing or still a thing. Ugh, my brain just vomited.
But obviously, only if she changed her views. And all of a sudden, she can say negative things. Money gets offered to people, and some people change. But I will say this.
Trump, of all people, talking about how money changes people. Gotta love this world we live in.
That are not taking money. That
For the most part, they are. You know, Barr did a book. Barr was a coward. The name people that you name, for every person you name, I can name 20 people that loved the administration. And maybe more importantly, the voters loved the administration.
That's the key thing there. Trump has a lot of support amongst his people. And here's the caveat thing. I'm going to stop this video here. Here's the thing to take away. Unlike Bernie Sanders, Trump fought for his people, fought for his movement. Now, again, I'm not endorsing Donald Trump. I will not vote Republican. I won't vote Democrat. But in comparison between Bernie Sanders and Trump fought. He stayed true to his supporting base, and his base loves him for it. There are people demanding Trump. Trump is still in the lead in the Republican primary. Now, anything can happen, and who knows how this indictment will play out, but if Donald Trump walks away from this, he will be a force to be reckoned with, and his supporters will show up to vote. And the RNC is going to play every single trick and maybe take some notes from the DNC to try and derail Trump's campaign, because that's what's going to happen. We don't have free and fair elections in the United States, folks. I mean, come on. Election integrity, what's that? Follow Nico House or the Convo Couch, and they'll tell you firsthand. They got the receipts covering numerous election, issues here in this country. So what can I do to really end this segment? To really show you that this election cycle is just going to keep on getting better and better. And we're still in 2023. Let's talk about Trump's first plans after he wins. Because there is a situation where, again, he could potentially win the primary and go into the general election and win as well. I'm looking forward to seeing the liberal meltdown, if and when that does happen. And if it does, I am going to cook myself a nice steak dinner, pour myself a glass of wine, and watch in pure joy and bliss. Because here's what Trump's going to do. I mean, again, he's telling the truth here. Open transparency. Most transparent president we've ever had in this neoliberal nightmare. Trump's first plan after he wins. Start drilling, baby, and closing that border.
We asked viewers to send in questions on social media. We had a ton of responses. Here's one of them. Erica tweets this. What is the first thing you will do to turn this country around if you get elected?
Well, I do two simultaneously. I'd start drilling. We have the most liquid gold under our feet.
That liquid gold Texas tea, baby. My Texas audience. I better see that yeehaw.
Than any other country, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia. And that's going to bring down the pressure on inflation. And we're going to have very little inflation very soon. We had virtually none when I was president. And second, that close up the border, because we can't have prisoners and people from mental institutions coming into our country. They're emptying out from all over the world, not just from the 3 or 4 countries we talk about, the neighboring countries all over the world. They're coming into our country at levels that nobody's ever seen before, Brett. And we have to stop it. And they are emptying out their prisons, and they're emptying out their mental institutions and insane asylums into the U.S. And we're not a dumping ground. I would stop it immediately and get a lot of the bad ones out. We'd get them out very quickly.
Very quickly. It'll be huge. It'll be incredible. That's Donald Trump. Well, I guess the romance is over. Fox News, Trump, split.